So you're telling me that Disney had all sorts of tax exemptions and it still costs a lot of money to get into Disney World or Disneyland?
Hey, listen up, everybody.
King.
Churro.
So as all of you know, we made the decision last year to go in a different direction with respect to how Disney is governed. And since the 1960s, they've enjoyed privileges,
Dare I say, white privileges,
unlike any company or individual in the state of Florida has ever enjoyed. They, of course, controlled their own government right here in Central Florida. They had exemptions from laws that everybody else had to follow, and they were able to get huge amounts of benefits without paying their fair share of taxes, and even racked up $700 million worth of municipal debt. So we had a little bit of a tussle last year over school legislation, and Disney came out against something that was really just about protecting young kids and making sure that students are able to go to school learning to read, write, add, and subtract, and not having a teacher tell them that they can change their gender. And I think most parents agree with that. But you know, that was only a mild annoyance. I think that what we came to realize after that dust settled on that was you clearly had a movement within the corporation itself, of course, Burbank, California-based elements of it, that said it's their job or it's their goal to inject a lot of this sexuality into the programming for young kids. And I'm a dad, 6'4" and 2, and my wife and I know parents throughout Florida, we want our kids to be kids. We want them to be able to enjoy entertainment, school, without having an agenda imposed upon them. And so if you're going that way as a corporation, those are not the values that we want to promote in the state of Florida. We want to promote the safety of our students and the rights of our parents. So we had this situation here that was basically indefensible from a policy perspective. How do you give one theme park its own government and then treat all the other theme parks differently? And so we believe that that was not good policy. We believe being joined at the hip with this one California-based company was not something that was justifiable or sustainable. And so we said we're going to do something about it. And so now we're basically, Disney's going to be treated like SeaWorld is treated, or like any of these others, and that's really the fair thing to do. So I'll be signing the bill momentarily, and that will officially end the self-governing status here in Central Florida for Disney. My signature will also end Disney's exemption from the Florida Building Code and Florida Fire Prevention Code. It will end Disney's exemption from state regulatory reviews and approval. It will end Disney's secrecy by finally ensuring transparency about what goes on in this area. It will ensure that Disney pays its fair share of taxes. It will prevent local governments dominated by leftist politicians from using this situation to raise local taxes. If you remember when we first said that we were going to go in a different direction and change the status quo, local politicians, particularly in Orange County, were saying that that would mean that the debt of Disney would get dumped on their taxpayers, they would have to do services, and it would cause major property tax increases for people in Central Florida. Now, I rejected that. A lot of media reported that that would happen, and I said that will not happen. And so even though, and I'll announce here who's going to be running Disney on behalf of the state, even though I would like eventually the local governments to just take this, I was not going to put taxpayers at risk, and I did not trust them to be able to handle this at this point. So it's under state control, not local control. They may be able to negotiate something in the future, but right now there will be no additional tax burden on any Floridian in Central Florida or otherwise. And in fact, for the whole decades that this has been in effect, you have infrastructure feeding into the theme parks that were paid for by all the citizens of Central Florida, and Disney really got a free ride on that. Now they can be taxed for that. So if anything, it's going to reduce the tax burden of people in Central Florida. It also imposes, my signature in this bill will also impose Florida law on this area, just like it's imposed on Universal Studios and SeaWorld and all these other places. And this bill and the structure that we've created in this bill will ensure that the municipal debt that's been racked up will be paid by Disney, not by Florida taxpayers. And so this is what accountability looks like. This is what standing up for Florida taxpayers and the rule of law looks like. And I'm really happy that the legislature was able to do this. You know, last year when we did the initial, people were saying the debts, all this other stuff. We said, we're going to take care of it. Don't worry. We're going to take care of it. We got time to think about the best way to do it. And I'm confident that this is a way that is going to vindicate the best interest of the state of Florida. So Disney loses self-governing status. The state of Florida is the new sheriff in town.
Can you imagine? All you had to do is not push your woke ideologies on children.
Every day you wake up, you got a decision to make. To go right or left, up or down, right or wrong. At the end of the day, you make the decision. Nobody forces you. So make the right decision. Make moves, set the goal. Stop making excuses, man. And if it look like a duck, walk like a duck, and sound like a duck, it's a duck. Stop guessing. Just do the right thing. You heard? You hear me? I love y'all. Stay positive. Love one another.
All right.
You ever find yourself backed into a corner by a son bitch bigger than you? You just whip your damn pants off and be like,
Oh boy, fuck yeah, come on motherfucker, let's get it. You scared of the mouse control, you like that shit? Oh boy, come get some bitch.